Did you know that Liquibase can run scripts which are inside the dependency of your project? Hi there! My name is Fabio Formosa and welcome into my channel. This is Making of Quartz Manager, the open source project which adds capabilities upon the popular Java library Quartz Scheduler. A GitHub user notifies a weird behavior and he opened a GitHub issue. Let's read it all together. Hi, I had a requirement of setting up Quartz with persistence in a Postgres database. With the Quartz Manager project, I have to initialize the database. I could set the Spring Quartz initialize schema from never to always. This will help initialize the database, but it will drop existing tables and initialize on every startup of the application. So in order to work around that, the first deployment should be in the property Spring Quartz initialize schema always, and the second deployment should be with the property Spring Quartz initialize schema never. Okay, so summarizing, you need to start Quartz Manager and persisting the Quartz configuration. In fact, Quartz Scheduler comes up with a setup to persist scheduler configuration in a relational database. Let's read. Job stores. There is RAM job store. RAM job store is the simplest job store to use and gets its name in the obvious way. It keeps all its data in RAM, of course. And JDBC's job store, it keeps all its data in a database via JDBC. Okay, fair enough. So basically the user wanted to switch on the persistence of Quartz Scheduler, and it was trying to using the property of Spring initialize schema, this one, Spring Quartz JDBC initialize schema always, and he noticed that with always the tables are always initialized. So at every bootstrap of the application, the tables are dropped and initialized again. So the GitHub user was finding a way to switch to always at the first deployment, at the first startup, and never to the other one. And I replied to him, if you need to run Quartz with a database to persist the scheduler configuration, you don't need to run Liquibase and switch the Spring property to always and later to never. Simply you have to import the Quartz Manager starter persistence dependency in your project. So in fact, I know that it's not straightforward to enabling the persistence layer of Quartz Scheduler, and this is the reason why I developed a sub-module in Quartz Manager project. And it's enough to import this sub-module as a dependency of your project to get the persistence layer or Quartz Scheduler with no other actions. So it's simply a matter of imported dependency. In the README file of the Quartz Manager, there is a section called examples, where there is a reference to another GitHub repository called Quartz Manager use cases. There I simulate different consumer projects that import the Quartz Manager library in different scenarios. There is a scenario similar to this of a consumer project which already configured a persistent layer and imports the Quartz Manager with the persistence module. It's a little bit different but quite similar. We can start from that to simulate the current scenario. So let's open the IDE. And let's open that repository, Quartz Manager use cases. And let's create another sub-module. I call it with persistence storage. Now I open Docker to start a Docker container based on Postgres. I need a new database for this use case. And I run the Docker compose, which is inside the new module. The Docker compose will create a Postgres container. So now I open the behavior. And I check that the new database is correctly created. Okay, I start the Docker container called persistence. I start the application. So now I check that the tables are created, and unfortunately we see only two tables, which are the tables of Liquibase, but there are no the tables of Quartz Manager. So that's true, there is a bug. Within the Quartz Manager starter persistence module, there is a script, Liquibase script, which should create the Quartz table. There is a configuration of Liquibase. Liquibase should find the migration, the folder with the migration script. The migration script should create the Quartz Manager tables. Googling and looking for Liquibase configuration. Yeah, it's correct. It's enough to define a Liquibase bin, and it's important to define where the Liquibase config is placed. And maybe I suspect that Liquibase is not finding the migration scripts. There is a GitHub issue. Okay, they suggest to put class path in the location. Okay, in the changelog setup, I have a relative path, and I put the relative path, the attribute relative to the changelog file. But yeah, they suggest to, instead of put a relative path to the changelog file, they suggest to put an entire absolute location starting from class path. Okay, so I put the entire location starting from the class path, and I remove relative to changelog. I install a new version of Quartz Manager locally with these changes we have just applied, in a way that I can open the other repository, Quartz Manager use cases, and import the new version with these new changes and test again locally. So yeah, in the other project, Quartz Manager use cases, I clean the dependencies to force the import of the new version, the new snapshot version. I start the application. Now I refresh the tables in the beaver, and yeah, that's it. That fixed exactly. It was a problem in the Liquibase changelog, how the migration folder was referred. So yeah, let's commit the new change. I refer to the GitHub issue 115, fixed the Liquibase database migration. Now I create a new GitHub tag with the new version, because I am going to release the new version with the fix. The new version is 409. I push the tag. Pushed. So now I reach out GitHub. I create a new release from the new Git tag I pushed with the name V for version 409. And now I list the features and the fix comprised in this release. Okay, now the release is created. Let's check the GitHub actions. There is a pipeline which starts when a new release is created, and yeah, indeed. The pipeline is called publish, which releases the new version in the new packages in the Apache Maven Central repository. Okay, now it's time to reply to the GitHub user, saying that it was a bug I fixed and he can retry. It was exactly how it was described in the README file. It's enough to import the dependency from Quartz Manager persistent module, and no other actions required. It's not required to run Liquibase as a Maven plugin or Liquibase command line or configure the Spring to initialize the Quartz tables. Nothing of that. Finally, I open a new GitHub issue, a sort of tech debt. The title, it's I want to create a new test, automated test to verify regressions regarding this part. So we need a test to verify that the module Quartz Manager persistence creates correctly the tables, the Quartz tables at the bootstrap. So, which is the learned lesson of this troubleshooting? The learned lesson is that when we define the path of the migration scripts within the Liquibase changelog, we can define a path relative to the changelog, but only if we are in an application. If we are putting some migration scripts within a library, we should define as a path or an absolute path starting from the class path and explicitly put to false the attribute relative to the changelog file. That's it. If you want to get some details about that, you can check out the Quartz Manager repository. I think it's an interesting point, the fact that a library runs the migration scripts for what concerns the tables that are under the management of a library. That's it, and see you the next time.